Oh yeah. I could use a few tickets. I'm kind of broke at the moment, so.
This is the raffle is when you get it could be your lucky day. We've had people
Oh, I hope
win.
so.
You got to put that godlike in for the culture if you got one.
Oh, I'm trying to get one now, actually. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, who knows?
I'm also really hungry as well.
Nice. I'm just doing final preparations here. So if anyone else wants to come up and say hi, feel free to raise your hand. We're gonna be in the decorations raffle channel here in the Discord, and we'll be dropping the type form here in just a few minutes.
What's up, friends?
Hey, good morning.
Good
Hi.
morning. I'm waiting last minute to decide whether to drop all my raffle tickets in between my two wallets or to try to sell them. So we're getting down to crunch time here.
Morning, guys.
Hey, good morning, man.
Good morning.
Yeah,
How you
10
doing?
minutes left.
Rex?
Stay out of my pools, guys.
What's the dream raffle win for you guys? I know we're all thinking godlike, but is there a specific item that any of you are like pining for, like specifically like campfires or lava lamps? What is it?
I like the globe and the
Lamp.
lava lamp.
I love lamp.
Yeah, the
I
lava
love
lamp.
lamp.
That lava lamp hits me. Hits different for me. I like it a lot.
And the campfire is pretty cool.
I have to have some good luck this time. I was meant to get 17 items last time and got 7, so
Yikes!
got some
Yeah, I'm
luck saved up.
Version to the mean.
I'm on like the edge because I've had so much good luck in the last two raffles that I'm not sure if I should put the tickets in because I'm like, it has to my luck has to end at some point, right? So it's like, but the good thing, tickets were pretty cheap this time, so I was able to load up yesterday. So if we are going to do land rarity farming, which is up in the air, these decorations are going to matter. So it's like, you have to make a decision in the next 8 minutes, essentially, for me at least.
Yeah, it could if that somehow gets passed and we end up doing that, it could be a good play for sure.
I do wonder how many people are holding off on this one for the land raffle. I know somebody posted that there was a lot of gunpowder left. A few billion friends or something.
Totally. There's probably, I was estimating it at about 1 billion friends generated per month. And it's probably been, how many months? It's been like 4 or 5 months, I think, since the previous land raffle, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know the
what
exact
he
date.
said. It was 4 to 5 billion, and I think under 1 billion was entered. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you look at godlike tickets, only 4,596 have been entered so far, which is by far the lowest I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Even mythical, there's only 18,000 tickets. So like my little rat brain is like, in the next few minutes, should I convert all these? Because I have like 300 drop tickets. Is the move to convert some of these drop tickets into mythical tickets? Because it seems like there's not a lot of mythical tickets entered. So that might be my best chance to ever win anything mythical.
You can't change from drop to myth, though. You can only
you go the
change
other
into drop.
Yeah.
You can convert them between the two.
Nope. It's once you're in
One-way
drop, you're in
street.
drop.
Oh, wreck. That's it. All right.
See you in the land raffle, dude.
If someone sees a bunch of drop tickets dumped at like 50% of floor price, we know we did it.
That was my debate this raffle was, should I keep my myth tickets for the raffle or switch them to drop and go for the land raffle?
I always feel like it's best to just wait until the time of.
I'm not a patient,
7
man.
minutes. Think I'm curious if we'll get to 5,000 godlike tickets. 4,600. Creeping up there.
Yeah, there's been like 1,400 entered in the past few hours.
Fireball has me at a chance of 2 myth items.
Nice.
I don't think that's realistic with my luck,
How many did you put in?
124.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's nice.
I need that lava lamp, man.
So 5 minutes until the VRF call. If this is your first raffle, drop an emoji or something in the chat here. Let's see who's a first time participant. I'm sure we have definitely some new friends here. Maybe see what's all of my favorite emojis are Discord Nitro. So I don't know, just drop a fireball or something. So 5 minutes from now, as long as everything goes properly, this UI that you see here, raffle 10, will become basically it'll just say this raffle is over, and there's going to be a button that anyone can push that will then trigger the VRF. And once that button is triggered, it'll do an on-chain call to the random number generator, which is powered by Chainlink. And that random number will then be basically linked to this raffle, and will generate all of the rewards and the prizes distribution from that number. So that'll take about a minute, and you might have to refresh your page while all that's happening. But eventually, we will get to the page where it shows you all of the assets that you win. And if you didn't win, it'll just say, "Sorry, you didn't win anything. Better luck next time." But there's a lot of items, and I don't know. I'm feeling like there's a lot of items, and there's not that many tickets compared to previous raffles. So I get this feeling that like almost everyone's gonna win something if they enter their tickets like in the correct area.
Nobody pressed the button. Let's see how long we can go.
I always get nervous around the raffle time in case something goes weird, but so far so good. But if anything does go weird, we'll be on hand to fix anything. And right after the raffle reveal, we'll have some discussion and hang out and drop the type form. And then right after that, we will roll right into our weekly DAO discussion. Lots of good stuff to go over this week. One BTC says mythicals were around 5,000 entered the last two raffles. Is that true? I thought it was a lot more than that. 50,000, I think you mean. This one has 18,000, and there's more items.
It's everybody's favorite color ticket.
Green and pink. So I'm going for those.
I'm
Gotta
surprised
deck out
there's
that
so few.
parcel. Well, because these are not inherently yield generating items, so I think people are valuing them in that way.
I feel like
But,
people are being short-sighted, man.
Hey, I mean, we always know in Gotchi Gang, you play the long game, you'll do okay. So
100%.
yeah, it's always good to be thinking long term. All right, 2 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm
Get
frantic.
your final tickets in.
I'm unlisting everything and trying to enter as quickly as possible. So we'll see if I can make it.
Matic spike incoming.
It's holding up. 60 gas.
No, just from No Future.
But imagine somebody the last hour just spams the network to stop people from entering.
That would be funny.
I probably shouldn't have put that idea out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fire up the bot. 1 minute, guys. Still 4. Oh, I see 3 new tickets for Godlike entered. Looks like this is pretty much our final number though, unless someone is really waiting to the last minute.
Playing a dangerous game.
1.35 million commons. Pretty nice.
I see more myths going in. My chances are down to 1.96.
Here comes the home stretch.
People playing a dangerous game waiting till the last second, man.
I woke up
Literally
15 minutes
entering
ago. I
some.
jumped in.
Oh, here you go. A few seconds. Get nervous.
Good morning.
What's up, Bo?
Hey, good morning.
Trying to win some rares here.
Yeah, buddy.
See how it goes. Get some campfires in my life.
Mhm.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm
Pretty
like
good, man.
getting these tickets.
Dude, I just put 40 more comments in. 150 gas. Let's see.
Right. Oh, I
Anyone-
see this raffle has already ended. So let's
Oh,
draw the number. Maybe someone's already drawn it. I'm going to click it. My
Crap, I'm
transaction
with what
live
tickets in.
fail.
When next
Someone already
raffle?
do it.
Next one.
Did anyone click the number yet? Oh, yeah, looks like random number is pending. Here we go. So I'll
Oh,
probably have
skip
to
that
do a
one.
hard reload. Come on, baby. Looks like it is taking its time here. Raffle has already ended. Shows random number already generated. So, oh yeah, looks like we are choosing random number now.
ooh,
Network's a little bit slow.
the anticipation.
So that means
Oh.
that the balls are rolling on the chain link side.
The long drum roll.
The roll already went through for me, and I see what I won.
You see it already?
Yeah, I won
Oh,
5.
yeah.
I don't even know
Click
what
the
these
claim
items are.
price. Right. Let's see what I got. That's what
What'd
you
you-
got, guys.
What'd you win, bro? Let's hear it.
I don't even know what the items are because they all look the same or similar.
Oh, gotcha.
I literally
I
entered
got the globe.
at the
Hey, I won.
Oh my god, I didn't get a gnome. No.
I got the globe.
I got a gnome.
I got 6 globes.
Wow.
You're a
Cool, that's-
well-traveled man.
Yep.
I got a lava lamp. Very nice.
What did I get from my other wallet? Let's see.
Oh, cool. I got 2 items. I got a rare GM sign, and I got a rare flower. Okay. No campfires, but I'll take it.
I got 93 comments.
I actually won.
Whoa, the commons went out, man.
I rolled a little below average, but can't complain. I think in the long run, it's pretty good.
These are some, man, these are gonna look so good. Look at those blue campfires, man. Okay, I
So,
kind of regret
all
not
right.
putting in rares in.
Great. So you can claim them all, and we will be getting these live in the Gotchiverse definitely by next week. Shouldn't take too long. You'll be able to place them on your parcel. We're having some issues with parcel syncing right now, so once those are cleared up, we'll start adding on these new installations. So sit tight on them for a little bit, and we'll definitely see those in the Gotchiverse very soon.
I got a shout out to fireball.gg because they're always on point almost, it seems like, with my estimations.
Agreed. Congratulations, Fireball GG, man. You guys did a great job.
Yeah, that thing was so helpful. Wow. Mia la 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 got a lot of myths. That is
Nice.
awesome.
Congratulations, Mia.
What'd you get there?
5 lava lamps. Nice.
Wow. That's amazing. How many did you enter, Mia? If you don't mind sharing. That looks like a great roll.
Anyone get a godlike gnome? Want to trade?
Yo, Goob's got 2 godlikes. Let's go.
Really?
Yeah.
Goob's got 2 godlikes? Where?
Yeah, dude.
I almost pulled in with him too. Yeah,
I
he
didn't
entered
see his,
200 tickets with a friend, and they got 2.
Whoa. Goobs. Dude,
And
that's
they're
awesome.
good ones, gnome and lava lamp.
And the
Wow,
lava. Oh my god.
That's
amazing.
gorgeous, man.
That godlike
That is a
gnome,
nice
dude.
haul.
Wow.
That's a nice haul.
He deserves it. A generous guy.
100%, man.
Yeah.
I need that lava
Yeah,
lamp, though.
Goob's Discord MVP, man. Keeping it down. Oh, these and once you claim them, they will be in your inventory. They're looking good. It does say list in bazaar, but I don't think that functionality is really live yet. So just yeah, don't worry about that. Hardcore says, I would like a recount. I only got 2 gnomes and a bunch of other things that were not gnomes. I think the GMs are gonna be cool too. They look a little small in this picture. I don't know. They definitely are bigger than that in the actual game. The GM light's gonna be kind of cool. They're gonna be like Hollywood lights, right? You can like, I don't know. We'll have to do some fun stuff with that where they kind of like maybe they follow you as you're walking or something.
Will they have a nice glow to them, like when they're on your parcel?
Yeah, they will kind of flash on and off. We're also going to be doing some stuff where you kind of walk up to it and interact with it a little bit. There'll be like a special animation.
Oh, very cool. I might even want to keep my flower then, because I want to see what that does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see too many campfires. Like I guess someone want them, but a lot of lava lamps. I see a lot of globes, raffles, flowers. Yeah, M got 1 rare campfire. I mean, seems like the odds are really good for this raffle. I put in only 20 ghosts worth of rare tickets, and I won 2 items.
Yeah, the odds were great compared to how many items there were. These are probably the best odds that we've ever had in a raffle. Maybe the first raffle was similar, but these are definitely the best odds because there's so many items and there's no actual like yield generated. So the EV of this raffle was like hard to calculate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
well, I won 5,300 common tickets and I won 27 common items. So that's pretty good. I remember it being like closer to 300 common tickets entered for a chance to win 1 item. So I'll take it.
If you didn't win something, I'd be curious to see how many people didn't win something, because there's a lot of items.
the overall vibe in the chat seems pretty good. There's always at least a handful of people that are like, "Damn it."
Yeah.
But Jesse keeps saying these land items are going to be really, really rare, and it kind of struck me when I was thinking about it. There's 25,000 gotchis, right? And we have all these different wearable items. There's going to be one day over 420,000 parcels of land, and there aren't nearly that many of these wearables. So, in that sense, I feel like the raffled ones, because we're going to have different kinds of land decorations in the future. I mean, right? I think you'd mentioned possibly craftable, or maybe something to do with glitter. Maybe more than one way to get that.
Carbon backed assets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, here's the type form, posting it here. Go fill that out for your 10 XP. We'll get that out as soon as possible. It's going to close in 2 hours. Hey, Pete Stevo says, need some marshmallows. Got the campfires. Right on. Yeah, we need to have a marshmallow. Someone get that marshmallow guy. We'll get him into the Gotchiverse. We can have a marshmallow NFT. Already 29 responses. You guys are quick. Type form ninjas.
We're
Gotta
trained,
get that
man.
XP.
Where do we go to fill out the type form?
The link in the description of the channel here. Oh, I didn't pin it, did I?
Yeah, you did.
I didn't pin it. I dropped it, but I didn't pin it. There we go.
Oh, it's in the top bar though.
Yeah. So if you have a Gotchi, then if you fill out this type form, you will get 10 XP for your Gotchi. It's a little tradition we like to do here at these events.
God bless if you're with us today and you've never had this experience. Nice to have new friends.
Indeed. This is like, yeah, this the coolest part of Aavegotchi, I think, or one of the coolest. In fact, this is why we have such an active DAO, because we're subtly bribing the constituents, but it's not purely financial. It's more for clout.
Hey, if
Which
you want
is,
to see me at my local elections, they need to send me something in the mail.
Right on. Yeah, seriously. If I voted badges were like an NFT, like a Pope badge, that'd be pretty. What's the first like county in America that's gonna do a Pope badge for voting? How nuts would that be?
We're small enough here, maybe I can pull it off.
Yeah.
Subtly slip a gotchi in there somewhere in the Pope badge.
I know in New York City they give you stickers to kind of get you to get in. Like I voted stickers, so that's I guess a Pope badge.
Yeah, I mean it's like a Gen 1 Pope badge.
I don't know if you make the wrong choice, that sticks with you, right? Like if you make that badge soul bound, that's like stuck to the. It's like, oh, that's who you voted for. All right.
Mm-hmm. Now all forms of government should have that. Like if you're a speaker, or like a delegate, like you could get Pope badge for everything you voted on. The constituents could easily look up what you voted on.
Man, I mean, this is a rabbit hole. Be easy. There's a lot of advantages.
Yeah, I would love to move to that also because no elections. Delegation happens instantly. If you fuck up, we take voting power away from you right there. It's beautiful.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. You could still have normal terms. It would just be you'd have like an on-chain record of everything you voted on that people could easily look up and complain about later.
That's what we need, man.
Hey, I will say in better news, yesterday I had a mourning period because I thought that I had finally effed up royally and lost a wallet due to not recording a seed phrase because it was one of my earliest wallets that I had ever opened in my career. And to go figure, it is in my code book. And so just a good reminder to folks to make sure you're keeping those good habits. And if you have a wallet that you haven't written any of the security down for, please make the effort today.
True that.
I gotta consolidate all my flashcards then.
Big A had a question. There is no listing of the decorations in the bazaar right now, correct? The functionality is not hot yet.
I have not personally tried it yet, but I don't think the bazaar contract will allow you to list them yet. Because we basically have to whitelist an asset to be added. So I don't think that it's live yet. we'll get that live very, very soon. It's pretty easy. Just need to do some front end work.
And then
And,
same follow-up question, not equipable yet either, right?
Yep. Technically, I mean, they might be equipable. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure how they're going to look like in the actual game. It's kind of the weekend right now, so things are a little bit slower on the weekend.
That's fair.
I can be a workaholic, but I can't force everyone on the team to be a workaholic. Unfortunately, gotta have that work-life balance.
More important now than ever, I think. You know, I've been guilty of a little bit of burnout inside of the Web3 space already. I feel like I got a better balance now by backing off. Actually, you got to find that sustainable load.
I feel like I'm going the opposite way. I'm like leaning in as hard as possible.
Oh, I feel like I'm losing you for sure. I'll catch you on the back end of the tunnel, but yeah, you're starting quite a serious mental adventure.
It's cyclical. Like people, you might be really hard for a while, and then just like health or life, you know, you just got to take a break for a little bit, and then come back to it later. No, nothing wrong with that.
What do you think's your favorite outside of work, like recharge activity? What's a hobby that you like to do, kind of get out of the scene?
I used to work out quite a bit. I haven't recently because there's no gyms near where I am. I like to also have like a personal trainer, kind of make sure I'm not doing doing stupid movements. But I'm going to be moving back to the city fairly soon here, so we'll be able to get back in the gym. I do love an hour, just like doing. I used to do hot yoga for a while. That was pretty sweet. But I don't know if they offer it anymore. But yeah, any sort of physical, like, you know, getting some sun or going to the gym, I do love it.
I've become like obsessed with it now. Like every day I go and play basketball for an hour, but I bring a jump rope and I do calisthenics while I'm doing it. So for that 1 hour, I'm like just destroying myself as much as possible. But it feels great. Like you come home and it's usually, this workout is like roughly 2 to 3 hours before the reset for channeling. So I like have this perfect schedule where I like go destroy myself, go to like a cafe with a computer, like just a mess, and then, you know, unlist all the gotchis, start the whitelisting process for the channeling for the night, and then go home, shower, and just get ready to channel. So it's like it's a good midday like reset to just like punch me in the face and like kind of, you know, get the heart pumping.
You got to get back to your roots of taking pictures of squirrels in New York, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna
taking time for the good stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring some photo cameras to New York, some film cameras. I might try to squeeze some squirrel pictures in while I'm there, but there's gonna be so much like Polygon and Gotchi Gang stuff happening. I don't know what's gonna, you know, the squirrels might have to wait till the next time I visit.
Looks like a lot of the items are showing up as golden altars, even though they do say the name under it. So those are definitely not golden altars.
So once these decorations can be equipped and listed into the bazaar, there's going to be kind of an opportunity there, briefly at least, to pick up stuff that's listed in the bazaar, like parcels with decorations on it that you don't even realize, right?
Yeah, there's definitely like a little bit of a disconnect between what you see in the bazaar and because it doesn't tell you what's equipped on it yet. But we will be definitely be adding that. I think it's a bit difficult because we need to add that information to the subgraph where it's currently not there yet. So we will. I think it's like getting very close at this point. So we'll be able to update the bazaar UI a little bit to show, at least like list out the different installations that are equipped and the tiles too.
I know adventure.io has the events page that you can put someone's address into to at least see the altar level and the cooldown.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty easy. I mean, I think that we have that on the subgraph now. I think all the info's there. We're getting very close. Just need to update the front end with a nice design.
So when are we having some guilds for gnomes or globes or lava lamps? I'm down for something. side guilds?
The gnome mafia. I did get a mythical gnome, so
Wow.
happy.
How many mythicals did you enter?
Let me see. A good amount. I've been saving up friends. I didn't enter the last I don't think I did. The last land raffle. Or at least I didn't do a lot. So I had a lot of friends saved up and I felt like kind of deploying them here. So I'd rather have less land and more fun stuff to put on my land. So probably won't be doing much in the land raffle. But I got one of the godlikes, except let's see. I didn't get the gnome and I didn't get what was the other one? I didn't get the globe. But for mythicals I entered I think 10,000.
Wow.
No, not 10,000. Sorry,
That's a lot.
That's what it's only 18,000.
10,000?
I don't think so. That's
Dang, the-
1,000. 1,000.
Okay, that's not bad. I was like, I threw it, so you're really chatting it up over there.
You stunned these guys into silence.
I'd be crying if I got only one with 10K.
Well, I feel like I got kind of lucky because I bought a lot of rare tickets yesterday because they were really cheap. I moved some of them to my son's wallet, and I didn't realize that they sold for 3 times what I paid. So I actually, for all the common tickets that I entered into this raffle, they were paid off of that flip. So all of this is like basically free.
Nice.
You're like, what, 3-0 for raffles now, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna go play the lottery now, I guess, or try to like jump in front of a train and not get hit. I don't know.
I'm curious, Nick White, did you get anything? You were scrambling there last minute.
I got 7 commons.
All right, there you go.
Oh yeah, I couldn't afford anything else, so yeah. I'll take it.
So my buddy sent me this picture. He got 2 gnomes, 1 globe, 4 flowers, 1 lava lamp, 2 GMs, and 1 campfire common, and he put $20 in.
Wow, that's lucky.
He got 11 items for $20.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of these raffles that we look back on like a year from now and like, wow, what a missed opportunity. Because there's only, like Hefe said earlier, like even now there's so much land out and just not a lot of decoration. So I'm assuming that, this was a limited run decoration raffle. Are you guys planning on doing more of these? Like, I don't want to call them installations. I guess they are installations, but more of these decorations in the future?
Yeah, we definitely want to have some craftable decorations. We have a lot of ideas that we're working on right now. So I wouldn't say like decorations are not meant to be something that are extremely scarce, but within each decoration, they are going to be a fixed number. So there'll only be 5 godlike globes or 5 GM lights. So like each of them will be collectible in their own way. But the whole decorations category, it's not something we really want to like limit too much. I mean, we're not gonna flood the market completely. I don't know how many like future decoration raffles there will be. A lot of the ones coming up next will probably be craftable. But I think it is fun to give them away via the raffle. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, this was fun. All these raffles are always fun. I hope all of you take the same approach to the land raffle and don't enter because I got 300 tickets and I'm trying to add like 20 pieces of land.
So everyone, make sure you go and fill out the type form if you haven't already, and you have a Gotchi.
So I guess next would be GBM auction, right? For land, that's going to be the next like kind of big event.
That's right, yeah. GBM auction and the GBM raffle. We're closing in on announcing a date for that very soon.
Will the GBM UI be the same as the last one? Because you guys made a huge improvement between the first land sale and the second land sale in terms of that UI. Are we going to see the same UI, or are there going to be some new additions or features added to it?
Probably will be mainly the same. I know we need to go through and do a pass on that, fix any bugs that there were. So Generally, it'll be the same map. It'll be the same layout. I don't think it'll be a huge difference. I mean, the difference between the first and the second was quite large. So I think in general, we'll probably just stick to the current one. We don't want to invest too much time because it is kind of a one-time event. It won't be used that much. So, but it will definitely be a good experience.
Yeah, we get to do our Gotchizillo thing, which is kind of cool.
I love the frantic first 20 minutes or 30 minutes where you're trying to scramble in as many bids as you can, you know. That's where you make most of it anyway, for me, in my opinion, my experience.
Yeah, I did really well in the last one when nobody could like see what was going on. I was just grabbing random things and bidding on them. I had no plan at all, and I lost all of them, but it was a good flip on the GPM.
Yeah, so in comparison to the first auction, I put in 6K Ghost, and there was some UI issues. The guy who tried to bot it, I made 750 Ghost. In the second one, I put 2,800. Coder Dan and the team wrecked the bots and didn't let them bid on anything. It went smooth as butter. And I made the same amount of Ghost with half the Ghost in the second one.
Very similar results. Yeah, exactly.
I got outbid like 140 times.
Actually, when I increased my the funds that I put towards the GVM, my yield went down because it was just so much more bids up in the air. Like when I had less money entering, I tended to make a lot more, like 20-30% return versus like with 5x the amount going in, I'm making maybe 8, 10, 12%. So maybe I have to work on my strategy a little bit.
There's a learning factor too, though.
That's the Warren Buffett effect.
Yeah, I used to be able to dominate, man. Kids didn't know what they were doing yet. We're more learning every single time.
Also, just when you have like $10 billion to invest, if you're happy with like a 5% return, that for you, that's like a huge win. When the more money you have, like the harder it becomes to get like a double or a triple, because in this kind of environment where you're getting like marginal gains.
Yeah, I heard the outbid noise like for 2 or 3 hours straight, nonstop. It was a race. Like I was getting outbid faster than I could put up the bids.
It gets addictive. It really does, because like that's the edge of the sword with this GBM, and that's why I love it, because like the action happens so fast, but it as quickly can slow down, and then it goes to like the volume drops off, and then we see maybe a day or two where it's like some bids are coming in, and then right before the end, where we might be entering hammer time, things get crazy. And I know for me, like in both of the last 2 raffles or auctions that we've done for land, hammer time has ruined me, because it creates this like insane FOMO, because I realize that's like, wait, do I have enough land? Do I need to get it now? Because I now see all this action, and it's like kind of driving me nuts. So it's like you got to just be careful in that first that first initial rush, so that we don't if you're new to the GBM, that you if you're trying to win land, you're going to win land, but if you're trying to make some money, you can also do that. You just got to be careful so you don't get stuck.
Dan, AJ's asking specifically, I know there's been some chatter around it, but do you want to touch again on the possible migration from Friends to Glitter, if there's any timeline on that, any certainty on that?
I mean, we could make the switch to glitter-based tickets fairly easily. It would be I've been thinking about it. It shouldn't be too difficult to do on the contract side. It's really just a matter of the DAO kind of, if anyone wants to champion that initiative, we can get a proposal going. I think we should think through all the different side effects that it could possibly have. But I think in general, maintaining 2 systems is going to become a headache for sure. So I think it would be an interesting switch to consider.
So I'm gonna get it. Go ahead, Evan.
Oh, go ahead, man. It's all good.
Just
Are we
quick
gonna
side
get
part.
into DAO stuff now? We're past that. Probably ready to
Honeymoon phase over.
Move into we're gonna merge into the DAO discussion here, I think.
Yeah. I was
It's
gonna
off
say
topic.
segue. It's a good segue into it.
I'll start us off with just a quick early one here too. So Dan, I don't know if you know or not yet, but I've kind of transitioned from Good Ghosting over to an operation called Nori. And so I'm doing the same work, community management, but I'm working with Nori now, and they're going to be hitting on Polygon pretty soon. And so they're a verified carbon supplier. And so they're going to make Climate DAO look bad. And so I have this secret agenda in my heart to sew up Aavegotchi when the time comes. So any kind of carbon discussions, I want to make dang sure that I'm involved with that. We'll get it up on the DAO eventually and get going. But there's this really, really intriguing concept of any protocol on chain right now starting to utilize the carbon backing to be able to flash that badge of leave me the hell alone. I'm not having any kind of environmental impact if I'm actually negative.
Yeah, you should talk to Hardcore. He's been working on
Hardcore.
this.
Oh, he's very close. We got the chit chats done. He's got the mechanics down. That's why we're very close to being able to come up on stage and say, hey, we got this thing situated. So I was just looking for kind of the carbon source was my part of the contribution, but Hardcore's really intelligent individual, as we all know, and has got a lot of the mechanicals worked out to the point that I think it's actually a viable path to move forward and start to introduce to the community. So we'll get there in due time.
I heard Mark Cuban was buying carbon credits.
So I'll give you guys just a quick dump on it, just without getting too deep. The bitch of it is, where is the carbon coming from? How is it verified? How is it authenticated? That seems to be the biggest struggle, because there are existing carbon markets. And so what's happening a lot, like with ClimaDAO, is people are bringing traditional carbon offsets on chain, but it doesn't add any benefit to the commodity of the offsets themselves. So it seems like turning carbon offsets into on-chain NFTs is going to be kind of the best solution. So that way there's some kind of like integrity amongst the system.
Does each tree have like a QR code? Can I watch it like growing?
It's actually, so Nori uses farmland. We're using U.S. cropland methodology. So it's acres of crops in the U.S. And so each NRT is what they call them, does indeed have the geofencing of the very specific field that you've contracted.
Cool.
I think it was a few months back. I don't know exactly, but it was something about Mark Cuban like buying and doing something with carbon credits on Polygon.
The one I like to tote is, we are working with Rarible, right? Nori's Rarible's carbon credit hook. So if you buy an NFT off the Rarible marketplace, you can opt to spend a little more and offset it with the carbon situation. And then, like, I think Imogen Heap came out and did a project with us. And Steppen just got with us as well too. And so it's starting to look hot.
Yeah, very cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it, man. I know we've talked about it a few times, so that'll be good. I guess that's a good point it's a good point now to kick off our DAO discussion for Sunday. So I got the Miro board here. I'll throw the link for people that want to cruise along. Put that in the chat there. Yeah, I'll post everything in the DAO meetings chat there. So I'll put that there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna all move over here to the DAO meetings chat. I will keep the type form in the decorations raffle if anyone needs it, but I think we'll probably be moving over here.
Yes.
I'll move that one to the top here. Boom.
Perfect. Okay, we got a bunch of people coming in.
I ask one question about decorations. I know there's no way to like upgrade them and like make them further advance. Was there any thought on maybe like aging, how like they could grow or evolve?
Well, yeah, the kind of the tricky part is that these are all 1155s. They don't have any of their own metadata. We don't really maintain any of that. So like when you equip it, or all we know is that it's on the parcel. As far as like on-chain data. So that's kind of the bummer about using 1155s. They're much cheaper to deploy and distribute and equip and use, but they do come with some side.
And that means that you're not able to allow them to evolve over time.
Yeah, like we wouldn't know which one is evolving. It's the same thing with wearables. If we want to say, okay, this wearable is going to get more powerful the longer you equip it, we'd have to basically maintain.
Yeah, I just meant for like your decoration on your property to kind of start to like, things grow. So I thought, your decorations or something might be like grass that kind of grow or evolve. Just a thought.
Yeah, that would be something we could do like completely server side only, because it wouldn't really be possible with the smart contract. Maybe, but it's just like, yeah, it's more complexity that we'd have to manage already in this quite complex little game
And
already.
Mudgeon can make any diamonds though, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying it couldn't be done. It's just it wouldn't really be 1155 at that point. It would be a 721. When you start doing 721s, you got to think about like this raffle is very difficult to do with a 721. It takes a lot more gas. It's just more work intensive, and the installations they're not really equipped as 721s. They're 1155s. Everything's kind of set up for that, so it would be a huge overhaul.
Great way to explain it though. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, right on. So, I guess we should just get into the agenda for today.
Is anyone recording?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm recording. ZombieShepherd, you're recording as well. Yeah, awesome.
I am. I've been going
Excellent.
since we started. I was on it when you jumped in.
Nice, right on. Okay, so yeah, we got those going, and so we have 5 things on the agenda for today, and then we can talk about anything else. I believe T-Bird's boat. We want to have him come up here and actually explain it himself. So if he's in there, you can definitely jump on stage once we rattle through these 5 items, and maybe we'll end off that way. But the first item is channeling. I guess there was 2 sig props that were made. But that's been cleared up now, right? We have 1 sig prop available to vote on that is quite far from quorum. Wait, yeah, I don't think it's met quorum yet, but it's basically to change the channeling time. So basically, go vote on that. I think there was 2 proposals before, so it was confusing. But now we just have the one put up by. Why did I close that? By Zico, Hardcore, and
Yes.
yeah. Let me just open it up here. That's the old one. Yeah, Hardcore, Zico, Frost, Choina, Slick. That's the one we can vote on, and that's still active. That's still open. So I don't know if we really have much to add on that. You can go in and read the options. There's 3 of them. Option C,
Yeah.
keep the current system, was missing from the other proposal, I think.
I do have a question about that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue is that all of the spillover is building up at the same time, right? Or like, what is the main issue with the channeling window?
I think the main issue with the channeling window was, I think, 2 things. One was that there was a concentration of Alchemica around a certain time that players would log on, and that time would be like fruitful for scholars going around picking, Alchemica up. But then there wouldn't be a whole lot for the rest of the 24-hour period. And then the other thing was just to consider alternate time zones, and that in relation to that reset time, it might not be it might be a quality of life improvement for someone in a time zone where that's like 4 a.m. for them.
Again, yeah, but again, it comes back to really the issue is that the spillover is getting dropped all like clumped together at this one time, basically, right?
So I thought more about this like before the prop went out, and the only way this is really going to change anything is if we also get the option, which you said is possible, to not allow channeling on rented out gotchis, like to toggle that option, or else the same issue is still going to happen. Because unless a lot of people change their reset time, which I don't really anticipate, but
right. But I think my question here, what we could do on the back end side is basically all the spillover that is coming in at this certain channeling window time, this midnight UTC, we could theoretically just distribute it evenly over the entire day instead of having it. Basically, what we're doing now is we're trying to get it. We're trying to process it as fast as possible and get it out there. I think it's set to about a 4-hour period now.
I noticed that like some guilds will do like, spillover. They'll do spillover sessions, and that would maybe mess that up for them. It's just something I was thinking about if you were to do what you just said, Dan.
Yeah, basically changes, like your suggestion basically changes how spillover works, which I mean wouldn't necessarily be a terrible thing, but it wouldn't be what the current system is.
I mean, I would prefer if you did that change where the spillover was all day. For me, as someone managing assets, it would make it easier for rentals, because right now there's basically my goal is to channel as quickly as possible after the reset and get back up those gotchis, because I'll get the premium because there's almost no listings because everybody's channeling, they're pulling down their stuff. But for the like now the rental rates are like on the floor at this point at this time of day because there's not as much spillover.
Yeah, I'm just worried if we start adding in like a channeling window that a gotchi has like for itself, we're gonna have to show that on the UI, and it's gonna add a little bit more confusion into the marketplace. And what if someone like changes it while it's listed, and then the listing's outdated, and it does add a lot more.
I like the fact
chaos.
I like the fact that you can just adjust it to the time zone you want. Wouldn't you be able to move it from 7, right? No future that you're doing it at currently. So you would move it to, what time would you move yours till? Because I know you're managing some assets.
I wouldn't move it. It's in the perfect post-workout place. I get I finish dinner, I work out, I work out, finish dinner, shower, and then I'm right into the channeling mode, like full of endorphins and dopamine. So I personally, I would leave it.
But you could adjust it. You could, in the future, you could always adjust it if you had some things coming up at night or something changed in your schedule to where you needed to do it in the morning, right?
I could, but this really does fit perfectly. The channeling session for me, because I'm doing 80 gotchis, I'm not even renting gotchis anymore. Takes a little over 2 hours, with also adding, relisting of gotchis as I do it live. So for me, I like to go out at night. So it gets me out, I'm in the house later. So when I go to a bar, I'm only there for like an hour or two. So it's actually way better for me. So I kind of like the reset. Even if we could change the reset, I probably wouldn't unless I was going on vacation or had a major life change.
But there would be a lot of people. There would be a lot of people, I think, that would, though. You know what I mean? It was
there's a lot of
you
people
kind of
at like
defeated
4 a.m.
Yeah. Not only that, but people in the middle of the day, they might not want to do it in the middle of the day. So there's stuff that's happening at 12 or 1 p.m. They just switch it down to maybe no future, but that actually adjusts all the different channelings. I mean, and that would kind of be able to keep everything kind of the way it was. And is that something that's going to cause a lot of load, Dan?
I think the main reason why this change was being implemented was because of the pressure that it was having on the servers. Because other than that, this change isn't changing much.
That's what I was saying. The only way it changes the load on the server is if people would adjust it, though, right? And that's what I was trying to give.
The server load is not really an issue. I don't think anyone's been complaining the last week ever since we
But I mean the way
to it.
The way you optimize the servers, though, kind of sort of changes how it's kind of changes how channelling.
That was there were basically 2 optimizations. One was before it was like we're literally putting it out as fast as we could and it was usually done within an hour. And that was fixed like last week. And then we did adjust it a little bit to make it a 4-hour cooldown, or like a 4-hour spillover period rather than a 1-hour period, because it was just the servers were running a little bit hot.
Which does change how channeling is supposed to work, though. It's supposed to spawn when you channel, which it doesn't currently. It spawns over a 4-hour period just because that's how much, because so much is being done at once.
Yeah, the one thing
my proposal would be we wouldn't have to change any of the smart contracts or any of the UI. we would just make a simple change to say, okay, the spillover is just it's gonna go out over a 24-hour period evenly. So
Would
maybe
the-
that's not a popular option, but it would be by far the easiest for us to implement.
I mean, I think it would be popular. It's just like I said, it changes how channeling works.
Yeah.
If we
I
do,
don't think it's temporary. I don't think it would be temporary. I think that would be like, if anything, that would be the new normal because there's going to be even more Alchemica spillage with harvesters.
Can we get a Roomba that goes around your parcel and like collects spilled Alchemica through the day?
That's called a bot.
It's called a Roomba. Okay. No botting.
Maybe let's table that for. We're going to go on to the next topic here, which also relates to spillover, which there's been a lot of discussion in the forums about it. If we're going to talk about spillover, might as well talk about the biggest possible changes that people have been talking about.
Yeah. Dan, are you referring to the level 9, like Notorious BTC and Mikey J, the model that they've created?
No, I'm more referring to the various options that there's been people discussing in the reduce or end spillover discussion. Just to get
Okay, yeah. With
get a
cartridges.
feel of
indicate.
cartridges. Yeah, there's like the cartridge option, review period option. There's like an option to reduce the spill rate or spill radius of the spillover, and then there's finally just like stop spillover for a certain period of time while we put out more advanced gameplay or are able to have more time to implement more anti-botting measures.
Yeah, I feel like it's a large topic, so we can definitely get into that. And talk about how are we going to incent overall what that's addressing is the underlying issue also of incentivizing scholar investment and also cutting out the bots. So that all ties in with that, I believe.
Yeah.
Are there three distinct options that seem to be being formed around that?
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, there's obviously the don't do anything option. Here's a great poll by Kenny McCormick in the chat here in the forum. So the options he's got stop spillover as originally proposed by Cookie Thief. That was basically say we're still in very alpha. We don't have all the necessarily the economy to sustain a lot of the Alchemica that's coming out as spillover at this moment. And we definitely don't have the proper tooling yet for anti-botting. So his proposal is just let's stop it temporarily. And maybe I would say if we did stop it, maybe we could do some weekly events where we do drop some spillover, kind of like this. We could have hype events weekly where we invite people to come and partake. But in general, the general spillover would be stopped temporarily while we continue building out the game, as it is quite a time sink for our dev team to have to deal with it 24/7. The next one would be the invite system, which basically could be like an NFT cartridge that we airdrop to Gotchi owners and realm owners, potentially also like parcel installation owners, tile owners, and they would basically be like this kind of patron system where they are able to then gift out these invites to people that they want to join the Gotchiverse. They want to be able to play in the game. And there's a lot of different ways we could handle that. I had a new idea about that just today, that if we were to go with that kind of system, I think there's some interesting modifications we could make to it. But basically the TLDR of that is that the Gotchiverse would become kind of a closed alpha, which is pretty common in a gaming space. Typically you do have like a closed alpha kind of phase while you're still figuring things out, which is definitely the stage that we are in. That would take a little bit more dev bandwidth to get that set up. We have to get the contracts out. We got to get the front end set up, make sure everything's working smoothly. So a little bit more work for that. Review period is basically saying let's give the new players that have never joined the game a 7-day period in which they need to basically fulfill a couple requirements to get through their period and graduate. They would have to probably play a certain amount of time in the game, so we have a history of what their movements look like and can help try and spot any botting behavior. They would also probably have to pick up some Alchemica to basically to show that they are playing the game and doing that sort of like they're not just standing around all day for 40 hours. And then finally
Yeah.
it would be like a 7-day period probably. So they'd have to meet all 3 requirements to be able to graduate and become like normal players. And during that review period, they wouldn't be able to withdraw any Alchemica from the system.
There was
another one. Yep.
Sorry, I was just going to say, in relation to what you just said, there was an interesting conversation around doing some sort of an educational course or / game, mini game that would be maybe run in a little sandboxed environment to get off, kind of like a tutorial island. And then you can make your way over to the main Gotchiverse once you've been vetted that way. So I feel like this could have a potential for
onboarding quest,
gamification. Yeah, onboarding. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's another option. It's kind of I don't think by itself it would solve the issue, because I think someone who can make a bot can also make a bot that will play the onboarding quest just as well. Like I was thinking about today, I don't really think there's that much we could do that they wouldn't be able to just bot and get through. Like we'd have to Sybil proof the onboarding quest, which I don't think would really be that easy to do.
Can you make randomization of like paths and instances, like changing directions and I don't know, moving NPCs or something?
Yeah, but they're just gonna play. They're just gonna like find them.
Every version.
Someone was telling me that Sunflower Lands has like a moving NPC, and they're like this will kill the bots. I'm like, well, no, the bot's just gonna go find the NPC eventually. It's not that hard. So I find it difficult to think of a lot of things that would be potential like anti-botting techniques that would be used in the onboarding quest. Basically, we're trying to prove that they are human, and there's just having a quest and forcing them to do that, they're just gonna set up their bots to do the onboarding quest. So I don't really think that would be a great solution.
The 7-day review period is also interesting, but I do have questions about that because, I mean, you guys probably are limited in your resources in terms of like, how would you handle the 7-day review period for like hundreds or even like thousands of players?
So yeah, we would need to, first of all, we do have some analytics that we've been working on and improving. And also, I think we're going to have to hire, or the community will have to hire some bot sheriffs, basically, to just patrol the Gotchiverse and look for sus behavior and kind of record it and get it to a point where they are very confident that it is a bot. So that's really all you can do. You can have automation. We can do all sorts of machine learning that we've been trying. Which has kind of mixed results, because a lot of times we don't have the proper data to feed it. So at the same time, the botters are also going to be changing their techniques to make it, as we spot them and ban them, they'll also be like figuring out ways to be less on their radar. What I do like about the review period is it would give us a targeted group of gotchis to focus on during that period. But what it does lack is there's still no limit to like how many accounts could be joining. And so you might get flooded with 10,000 review gotchis that we'd still kind of be back to where we are right now. We would just have 10,000 yellow names running around, and we'd have to figure out which ones are bots. So still kind of a challenge without having any sort of invite or like restrictions on who can join. It becomes pretty difficult to ensure that there's like a small manageable number of bots that we're looking after.
You also mentioned some stipulations that you might also implement. Like you said, days since first login, a certain number of hours logged in game, a certain amount of Alchemica picked up.
Yeah, those are basically, they would be designed to force them to actually go and pick up Alchemica, rather than just like staying, it's like being in the game but standing there doing nothing.
Yeah, I see you're thinking around this. You actually put it in a post there. I'll just read it. This would be really annoying for botters to get around, as they would need to essentially waste computing power running around the game, picking Alchemica up, which would increase their chances of being caught. Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Because if they're not running around picking it up, then we wouldn't have any data to look at. So we'd have to, we're essentially forcing them to play as normal players, and we have a much higher chance of picking them off as botters if they're moving, whether it's compared to if they're just like standing around.
It makes it that much harder to stay ahead of them too, or for them to stay ahead of you too, right?
Yeah, we could introduce other things that are kind of little games that we've been thinking of as well. But generally, I think the review period by itself, it would be definitely nice to see which gotchis are kind of new to the game, and be able to, for everyone to know and kind of hone in on looking at them. But it will not solve the issue that there's like a bajillion of new accounts that are always joining the game every day that are being funded, with the trustless gotchi lending. So that would only be helpful with like solved by the invite system.
So do you see maybe a mix of systems? Like we're doing maybe like, so we have sheriffs on the ground, we're doing some sort of review period, and then there's also an invitation only. Like maybe it's a combination of these things.
Yeah, well, it's the problem is dev time is we are trying to get another release out, and so we're trying to hone in on one option that will be kind of the biggest bang for the buck here, the least amount of dev time with the biggest effect. And currently, obviously, I think the number one method would just be turning off spillover, because that's immediately gonna de-incentivize the bots to be playing. They won't have any reason. It also obviously hurts guilds and scholars though. But we could still have events where we do have more Alchemica. It's just it wouldn't be a 24-hour kind of thing like it is right now.
Yeah, someone had also mentioned that they were looking at the active channelings happening on adventure.io and then finding Alchemica that way. So, I guess if there's tools built around it for scholars who are really looking for Alchemica, there is that. I don't know if bots are using that information, but probably.
Might not be exactly like something that it might even work, but what about every hour there's like a flash dance? Like if you're not a bot, you got to do a dance or you get kicked. And then there'd be like a whole dance in the whole Gotchiverse.
I mean, anything they can program, they can program. So if there's a dance,
this would be something that would be random and it would just kick on. And if you're in there, you could see it. And if you're not a bot, you would see the thing, hey, do the dance. You do the dance, you get kicked.
That shit would wreck me every night, because like as like I'm in channeling, I'm switching screens to recall the gotchi, then also setting up the relisting and also checking off a list. So like when I'm in the Gotchiverse, I'm in there for a split second. So I would probably get kicked out like every other time or something like that, because I'd miss those stupid dances.
Yeah, I would probably get kicked out too.
Yeah.
Well, see,
anything
actually,
that requires like captchas like that is usually not really effective, and it's kind of super annoying.
that's how they started in Axie Infinity. They would do one every hour, and then it turned into one every 2 minutes. And then that's when I just quit the game, because it was just retarded at that point. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's an easy answer again. That's a quick, good answer. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Dan, to move this forward? To actually get it into a point where it's actionable, and we can actually have some sort of a solution. Do you think it's ready for like a SIG prop? We should have these 3 options on there, or is there anything more we need to explore with these, methods of, addressing this issue?
Yeah, I'm gonna make just a flash poll here to see what everyone in the chat here thinks first. I do think we're almost at a point where we could do some sort of some sig prop.
You also mentioned a bit of alpha there. I don't know if it's alpha, but I'm just gonna read it. You're talking about the general purpose of each token, and how we could adjust potentially the amount of alpha. But you talk about the 4 different types. You have FUD, which is mainly the building block. That's the way you guys see it. And then FOMO is the mechanical impetus, so used in farming installations. Alpha is for social limited edition mints. And then Keck is mainly for rare items and limited edition mints. And then Glitter, of course, we talk about as tokenized time. Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm just gotta find some nice emojis for
Yeah.
this flash poll here. There we go.
Certain farming installations. I think that post probably had to do with something else, but interesting nonetheless.
All right, so little flash poll here. Feel free to click as many as you like, and we'll see what everyone's thinking here. So we got temporarily disable spillover, invite only via the cartridges, review period, or all of the above. One thing I was thinking about the cartridges, it would be obviously it'd be great if we could use NFTs, but if we really wanted to just get it out and be kind of get it out quick and dirty, we could just do kind of a snapshot and a whitelist, and guilds could essentially, or new players could contact patrons, and basically they would contact us and we would whitelist them. It would be pretty kind of a dirty solution though. But yeah, because cartridges are a little more technical to implement.
Excuse me, do you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
I just want to ask, did you saw the topic on forum which called idea to handle the bots about VE curve model we can use? It's similar to 7 days review period.
Yeah, I did see it. Let me check that again. You're basically talking about V Alchemica, right? Kind of an Alchemica that they can't do anything with.
Yes. You can use it by upgrading or something else.
I actually do think that's a very interesting idea. I don't think it would. We were actually just discussing this earlier. I don't think as a solution by itself it would. It could deter a certain group of people, but basically what it would incentivize is you would be able to get the Alchemica, and then you could craft with it. You could we will have more items to be crafting starting next week. So you would craft with the item, and then you're trying to, if you want to cash out, you would have to essentially list it in the bazaar for someone to buy it, pretty much. And so we're kind of forcing people to become NFT flippers, which not the worst thing in the world for sure. I'm not sure.
Drop the floor though, right?
The floor of what?
Like the NFTs being sold. I mean, if everybody had to buy into, create something, then sell it. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that drop the value of those NFTs severely?
Well, it basically deflects the sell pressure from Alchemica itself over to the NFT that you're crafting. So if you're crafting let's just say a decoration, you're forced to craft that decoration because there's nothing else on sale that week, and you're trying to cash out, then yes, you would have to list that decoration in the bazaar at a certain price.
So
which
in turn, that Alchemica would actually be undervalued because now you're pushing it into items that are now going to be undervalued. So it would basically be the same thing on the sell pressure. It would just be in another form, right?
It would just
Yeah,
like
there's
annoy
no-
bots. That's
Yeah.
all it would really do.
They
Yeah,
would
it
have
would-
to essentially spend more time figuring out. Right now, it's super easy for them to just cash out their Alchemica. So what they would have to do is they'd have to craft it. They'd have to spend some time in the bazaar figuring out like what the floor price is. They would most likely just They would set up a bot to like list it in the bazaar and hope someone buys it, pretty much.
It could also be a benefit when potions come out because consumables could help you get through a dungeon, or it could help you win a fight and maybe gain more Alchemica if you kill other people who have Alchemica, and those would get burned. So I'd see that as a very positive thing to do with it.
Harambe, that's a good point because in a lot of other MMORPG games, that is a big sink in the game is the battle mechanics and using power ups and potions and whatnot. Could be a potential way to definitely burn them and have some craftable items with Alchemica in the game. Mark also brings up a good point with the cartridges. It's going to take roughly a month or so to build these out. Is that right?
So the smart contract, we do have some code that we've been preparing for other things that we would be able to basically use, but there would be definitely some time involved respecing that. We would essentially finalize all the different features that we'd want in the cartridges, and we have to spec that out with user stories, build it, probably do not a full audit, but several rounds of code reviews on it. Then we would, at the same time, we'd be preparing the airdrop for it, figuring out who would be on that list of the airdrop, and that would be mostly the contract side. And then on the front end side, we would want to have a nice UI that people can go to basically find an invite, because that's, if you're a new player coming to the game, you're going to want to know where you can get one of these invites. And so we would essentially need to have a site, like a portal where people can go and find who has the invites. So and maybe link to their Discord or link to their whatever. So those would be kind of the discoverability factor would be a little bit more limited with the cartridge, because you're going to get inbound players who really don't know how to start playing the game. So that would be a kind of a hurdle that we would need to overcome.
Yeah, so it sounds like, there's some time involved with that option. In addition to that, there might be another layer of complexity for that onboarding aspect of it for a new player to come in and do this. But on the other end of it, how sure are we this option is likely to work in, accomplishing its goal compared to the review period, which is a lot less intense? Like, where do you see the outcomes? Are the outcomes going to be, in your opinion, a lot better if we invest that significant amount of time and resources into the cartridges? Or alternatively, is it better to, focus on other things? I'm sure you guys have a lot to build and try a 7-day review period, because we can implement it quicker, realize it works or it doesn't work quicker. And then, if it doesn't work, you might have to revert to cartridges anyway, but then at least if it did work, you didn't waste a month doing it.
I don't think people realize how many bots there are in this game who think the 7-day review period thing would work. Like,
it's a band-aid. It won't actually solve it long term.
It would be nice to know which ones are new players, but without any limits on new players being able to join, they could just as easily make 10,000 wallets and force us to like look through all of those and check if they're bots or not. So I would say our anti-botting is not like super strong yet, to a point where we could easily review all 10,000 new accounts that were coming in. So a review period without the invite system probably would also take up quite a bit of dev bandwidth on a day-to-day basis. The one thing I want to note about the invite system is that, so what I foresee could happen is we obviously want Gotchi asset owners, people who own Gotchis, to be able to come into the Gotchiverse at any time. Realm owners would be something we would need to discuss because what I see possible is botters would basically buy humble parcels, and when their account got banned, they would basically just transfer that humble parcel to another account, and we could either auto ban that account, which could be a little bit like unjust because maybe it was a legit transfer in the bazaar, which we could check for, but they could also just sell it to themselves. And the other way would be essentially forcing realm owners also. We could airdrop them a cartridge to play forever. We could take a snapshot like right now and say, okay, if you own this cartridge, if you own a realm parcel right now, we're going to give you a cartridge. You can play forever. Don't worry about it. But if you get a parcel in the bazaar, you're not going to have that cartridge. You wouldn't have that airdrop to you. So you would then need to go and get a cartridge through just like a normal scholar. So having the parcel would not necessarily grant you like unlimited access to the game because it is a potential kind of low hanging attack vector for a bot. And that goes for any of the NFT assets. Gotchis could also be used for that, although it would probably be less likely because of the high price point of the Gotchis. But basically any unlimited access to the game via an NFT asset could become an attack vector for botters. That could kind of get annoying.
And that's where you kind of said, there might be a limited amount of times this can be transferred, and then also there might be a limited amount of time available on the cartridge.
So what we would want to do, we would want to give an unlimited cartridge to all the owners right now, and then new players coming in would get like a limited cartridge that would probably be good for like 30 days.
Question.
Okay.
Great. I had a thought, and I'm not going to chime in much, but with the cartridges, could you make them soul bound to the wallet so that if it is a bot, they're screwed? Like they wouldn't be able to move the cartridge to a wallet.
That's the whole point of the cartridge. Yeah, once it's in their wallet, it can't be transferred. So essentially, with the cartridge, what it becomes is the person who gives the cartridge is kind of linked to whoever they're giving it to. We would know, like, if you invited a bot, it would be super easy for us to see, like bro, why did you invite this guy? He's botting the game. And so it could even negatively affect on like the next time we do an airdrop, we could say, well, he invited 2 guys who turned out to be bots. Like, sorry, you're not gonna get an invite this time. We could even take it a step further. I was thinking about this today and saying, if you're the patron, you're the guy with the cartridge, and you're gifting it to someone, that whatever resources that person spends on crafting or like any sort of internal like game transaction, you could actually potentially get a portion of what they're spending in the game because you're their patron, you're the guy that invited them. So that would also give kind of a nice incentive for you as the patron to go and find quality people that are going to be spending their Alchemica, not dumping it, but actually spending it in game.
Yeah, I mean, it does require, I guess, in that sense, with the cartridge system, there is a certain level of communication between the patron and whoever's receiving the cartridges.
Yeah.
I could see guilds implementing this, fairly easily if they have a good connection with their scholars. But then I wonder like, how does this affect people just renting out their gotchis on the bazaar to anybody? Just renting a gotchi out. Someone comes in, they grab it. You might not know they're a bot. So how would this system address that type of?
It's not about lending; it's about giving out the cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see it being really good personal with the scholars, especially for guild managers. A lot of us do have really personal connections with a lot of scholars, and we know that these scholars have been educated now, and Look, how about this? A majority of the scholars in OGG, I mean, they just participated in the raffle because we've been taking the Alchemica in exchange for the raffle tickets, and it's at least it hasn't done much to help drop the Alchemica prices, but at least on our end, we're trying our best to bring it in and not let them just go out and spend. But in this whole time, we've been building such good relationships with them. I would love to reward a lot of my scholars with a bunch of cartridges.
Yeah, and one further thing on that patron versus kind of player model is so the cartridge probably would have a limited game time, like a limited duration, and one idea I had was that actual crafting of in-game items could be something that extends the time of the cartridge. So not only would they would need to spend a certain portion of their Alchemica on crafting, or maybe they could buy glitter and speed it up with that, but there would basically be if you play the game and you don't buy anything with the Alchemica that you get, like you're basically game over. A bit drastic, but that would also further incentivize the patrons to find good players that are actually going to spend their Alchemica in the game.
Zbot has a little comment there. Gotchi reputation score by cartridges. That would be really cool if someone did eventually, if this does get fully accepted, implemented, if we could have a leaderboard tracking, how well people are using their cartridges. That would be really cool too.
Totally. I mean, that, because right now we don't really have a reputation system. We like Gotchi lending is a very innovative system. The current fault it has is that we don't really know who's renting the gotchis. Most of them are just botters.
Hey, user default, your mic is open, by the way.
Yeah, can you
Be
mute?
a good boy. Don't be all rumpy.
Dan, can you mute him?
All rumpy, Papa.
I'm gonna mute him. So yeah, so there would be like you would essentially it wouldn't be a lot.
You didn't mute him, by the way.
Oh, I didn't. I muted. Oh, I
You
did.
might have muted him on your side, but you didn't like server mute him.
Oh, let me.
You wait, Papa.
It should be the red button, I believe.
I see. I don't actually see like server mute for him.
What?
I'll just
You kick
yeah,
him?
I don't. That's weird. Hold on. Yeah, I don't actually see server mute. Can anyone else server mute him?
He's out of the channel. It's fine.
That's weird. They used to have that feature. I don't see it anymore.
I moved him to the audience. He'll raise his hand again. Bring him back up.
Yeah. So anyway, so the amount that they spend on like playtime, I don't think it would need to be a lot, but it would basically just be a token amount of Alchemica that, hey, if you want to keep playing the game, like you need to top up your cartridge with a little bit of Alchemica by crafting this NFT that is not worthless. So it'd be kind of a good incentive. Or you could maybe spend some glitter to do the same thing.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when you're at the arcade and you're playing, you run out of time or you don't meet a high enough score, you got to throw a couple more coins in the machine to keep going.
Yep.
One question though, the thing that worries me is that by adding these extra layers to this already complicated game, we're going to make onboarding harder because now it's more hoops to jump through. What are your thoughts on that? Like in terms of how to mitigate it?
Isn't that a good thing because we're looking for quality, not quantity? And I think in general, like pay to earn is, it's a good way to get your name out there, but it's not bringing like necessarily the best customers always, since a lot of these people are doing it for, a living basically. But I think like once they realize that maybe they could earn more through various methods in the game, like crafting, and it's not a guarantee necessarily, but they're not tanking the economy. Like if you think in the short term, I'm taking, $50 a day, but in 1 week that's only going to be $1 versus you can take $5 a day or something. It's more sustainable for everybody.
I'm just thinking on like a bonding curve. I was having a conversation about intelligence with somebody yesterday, and we are talking about how it's applied to a bonding curve. The higher we push up the IQ needed to understand the game, the less people that we're going to have available. And yes, we want quality players, but I think we also want players, because I think Pixelcraft's goal is to blow this up into like, hundreds of thousands of players eventually actively playing. If we make this too hard for them, I don't know that, it just, I just worry about overcomplicating things. I know it's necessary and it's a problem that has to be dealt with. That's why I asked the question.
I think a lot of games, including even Dark Forest, I think when they first came out, they required an invite code. I mean, we're still very, very early in this game's life cycle, and we have some definitely quality of player issues. There's a lot of really good players, but there's a lot of botters that we need to think of some ways that are sustainable to prevent that. I think that we have a lot of tools, but we just need to probably like growth. I think when you like make things more exclusive, people actually start looking at it more closely, because they're like, oh, this thing is exclusive. How do I get an invite for it? And they'll kind of start a certain group of people, not everyone, of course, but they'll go to the website for the guilds. They'll start investigating guilds. They'll jump in the guild, ask them, hey, how do I get an invite for this? Like, what do I need to do? And then it's up to the guilds kind of at that point, or the individual patrons, to like basically figure out what this person is. Are they just like, do they just want to, if they just want a game, like, that's awesome. Like, let them come game. If they don't know anything about NFTs, they can teach them about NFTs. It becomes more of a personal like invitation system.
Okay, because that would attract people, because it becomes like it becomes like a flex to be able to get the invite and be part of this exclusive thing. Have you guys thought of the marketing behind, like, I guess the marketing push that you're gonna do? Because like letting the world know that the Gotchiverse is now invite only, and it's this exclusive club that you can be part of, but you got to be like a real player.
Yeah, I think it actually becomes easier to market in a way, because things that are exclusive are easy to market, much easier than they're open to everyone. Like it sounds cooler.
What about like active like wallet? What about like in wallet having to be active for a certain amount of time in the Gotchiverse? Okay.
No, it really can't, because there's a lot of people that have 0 transaction history on Matic. There are real people, but if we just say, hey, you need to have, say, 100 transactions on Polygon, you need to go do DeFi, like use DeFi, like that. Most people are not going to be able to do that. So I think that's even more limiting. And definitely we've tried that angle a lot. And it's definitely very suspicious if someone has 0 transactions on Polygon, or
like
it's
so
a new wallet
definitely
created yesterday. But we can't tell them, hey, you're not allowed in our game.
Yeah,
because you need to have more transactions.
So the Bot Assassins Guild would basically be the simplest way to just kind of, have some trusted people go around and execute bots, and it would really deter them, because then they would lose all that Alchemica they picked up. And, you got a squad of 10, you can surround them, hard them to death real quick, pick up their Alchemica, and on to the next bot. And if you can prove that you weren't a bot, you can get your Alchemica back. You know what I mean? If there was a mistake made, but we could have like 4 or 5 things that they have to do to meet like execution status. You know what I mean? Like they got to run into something and stay there for a certain amount of time. They have to do certain movements. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't it be kind of retro, like I don't know.
That ties in with what No Future was saying though, about we gotta make sure that we're not making this overly complex. I think adding complexity in some ways maybe does attract a certain type of player, maybe repels another type of player. I like that idea of, okay, well, to play is the exclusive part, to be in the world, interacting and doing these things is the exclusive part. That will take some maybe a little marketing to get out there, but a lot of players I feel who have played any MMORPG before in this phase of the game will understand that this is a closed alpha, and that's how it's going to work, and there are going to be layers of complexity. I think
you got to
is going to make it fun. But I
You
think
gotta
doing captchas and like dancing around and stuff is not really going to be.
Is that not
overly
just a waste of time when we could just like ban them outright or something? Because like, I mean, if you're confirming that this person's a bot, and I don't know the way that you're having these sheriff type figures confirm, I don't know if they have tools from the dev. I wouldn't want to put that out there in public anyways, but like, we don't want to go around killing people who are necessarily innocent in the game. But, when you catch them, you probably want them out as soon as possible, right? And thirdly, I have some scholars who have brought their family on, and they're some of the most active people in the ecosystem. But when they bring their family and tell them, it's some of the best marketing because they brought in quality people who aren't botters, and they have zero transactions, and they seem like a bot right away.
The best way, it sounds like to me, is, like Coder Dan was saying, in the beginning, you have to do a lot of different things in order to create this game before. I mean, obviously a lot of this stuff hasn't even been released yet, and you're just releasing things, and you can't let it die before it's even been born. You know what I mean? So I think, like they were saying, I would understand a lot of like different restrictions in the beginning, like you were saying about different games, at least in the beginning, before everything can get built.
I mean, this will take time, right, for a circular economy to be built out. With every game I've seen where they start out with an alpha, it takes time. A lot of people do end up leaving the game at the start and then end up joining back like 6 months later, being like, why did I leave? Like these are growing pains. They're going to happen. It's been seen like in pretty much any MMORPG. It's just we're talking about real money here. So obviously there's going to be emotions involved, and it's going to get a lot more attention than if they're just like Web 2 coins worth nothing in a centralized game, right? So these are not unique issues like to us. This is something every game, this type of game, has had to figure out. Just there's a monetary penalty to not getting this right, and I think that's where a lot of people's concerns coming from.
Yeah, I think the other one is the dev time that it's going to take to implement a system that we would probably be fairly happy with. In the meantime, we could have another month of basically status quo of what is currently happening. So just the invite system, I can't promise that it wouldn't delay anything, although it wouldn't be different teams working on it, but I mean, it would be the core team that's working on the current release that we're working on wouldn't be too affected by it, but it would take up smart contract team bandwidth, including me. It would take up some front end bandwidth as well, and we're looking probably at minimum of like three weeks working on it. So in that 3 weeks, we would still have what we have today.
Is there any way that the DAO, since this is a DAO meeting, that we can help fund to accelerate some of this stuff? I understand that, we can't use glitter to make this go faster, but if we do have funds, like if we're trying to help build the infrastructure for the game for the long term, is that an option? I mean, I guess
it is. Dan said, I suggested this, that we could, give them funds from the DAO for maybe a bot czar or something like that. And Dan said if the DAO wants to give them a grant, they'll happily take it. I wonder if Pixelcraft could lay out some ideas on what would be good for them, what a certain amount of funds would achieve, what would be like balanced with the budget of the treasury and all that. I'm not too sure of the specifics on that, but we should get something rolling.
Yeah, we do have the upcoming next week. We'll definitely be putting out the token swap, and that'll be great to ensure that we're funded for like the next 18 months with our current budget. On top of that, if we definitely we could definitely hire like more game programmers, more kind of front end team. We're also hiring for that as well. So that'll add to our budget that we're looking at every month.
So it'd be nice to get some, because you guys know more of like hiring costs for that. So maybe like it'd be nice for Pixelcraft to give us an estimate of what would be really good for them, because I see the game development and stopping the bots is like the two most essential things to the ecosystem. You know, competition wise too, we want to take the time in this kind of bearish market to build so everything's ready for when things start turning around.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a really solid Gotchiverse. Like the core loop of the farming, I think is going to be. I think it's quite strong, and there's a lot of cool things we can do with social that'll also attract like non yield seekers to the game, and I'm really excited for that portion of it. It's like we're building kind of two games here. We have the yield farming game, and we have the social metaverse game. And right now we're kind of focused on the yield farming, and the token prices obviously have been kind of, we're in a bear market. They've been sold and sold and sold. And so definitely putting a pause on that would probably be, I think it'd be fairly healthy for the ecosystem. But some of the players that manage a lot of scholars, obviously it would be harder for them. They'd have to explain to the scholars like this is going to come back at some point, but right now it's spillover is going to be minimized while the devs kind of figure this out.
I also don't think necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess it is the part of it is the spillover, because the bots are making both scholars and Gotchi gang members disincentivized to even hold the Alchemica, because if you know bots are going to dump, why aren't you just going to buy back into Alchemica when it goes lower inevitably? Because there's, you know, as you estimated, maybe 20 to 50% of players botting. So I think with the anti-bot stuff, they'll actually be
20 to 50. No, it's way more than 20 to 50.
Well, this is what Dan said maybe a week plus ago that he thought. So I mean, if it is higher than that, then it's even more important that we take out the bots, because then, you know, we have incentive as a community. There's this snowball panic effect when the tokens are dumping like 5% a day.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. Now, I know you guys have talked about other companies just as big as Pixelcraft coming in and building inside here. Have you guys been in talks with anybody like that? Because I know that would be another way to take some load off of Pixelcraft by yourself, obviously, to do all these different things right now.
We are in talks with a lot of the different guilds that have partner parcels. As far as like what do you mean, like another like dev house building the Gotchiverse, or like using the SDK?
Yeah, I just remember you and Jesse talking a lot about how eventually you guys want, you know, Pixelcraft not to be the only big guy in here. You guys want like 5 or 6 other companies the same size as you guys in the background as well, or something like that. Have I understood that right?
Yeah, but we're not really. I mean, speaking frankly, we're not at that point yet. We still need to build the SDK out, so other players and participants could build that kind of stuff out. We're still very, very early in this whole journey.
And that goes right back to saying that you guys need to stay afloat, and you guys can't be destroyed in the beginning, like you were saying a minute ago, by allowing all these bots to destroy everything. So I'm down with whatever you guys say to, you know, cut this out. And if it involves not having Alchemica for a while or having less, you know, I'd rather the game survive than get destroyed.
Yeah, the game's not really going to be destroyed. It's just there'll be a certain impression of it. Like people they might have heard of it, and they'll look at the overall ecosystem, and they'll associate it with like botting activity. I mean, we're going to continue building it. We're well funded enough, even with this bear market, thanks to the price of Ghost, you know, not dumping too hard, that we're fine to go for a while. It's really just I have this idea of just, we want to try and find the players that are going to want to like actually convert and become Gotchi gang at some point in the future, rather than just the pure extractors who like the botters.
I don't know who created the curve.
Actually, Aragon created the original curve. We're the
Well, then-
only project that actually used it, though.
Big shout out to Aragon because it frickin' really, really, I believe, saved the entire thing from dropping out, right? Like everybody else.
Did the idea come from Vitalik initially somehow, or was it did it stem off of something?
Yeah,
Or am I-
it's the idea of the continuous, basically a continuous ICO or continuous DAICO, which was a piece pioneered by Vitalik that very few projects adopted, but we really liked the idea of the DAICO, this kind of continuous token sale powered by an AMM. The Aragon guys built it out and they got it audited by someone, Consensus, I think. And then I think for legal reasons they decided not to continue pursuing it. So they basically had the code out there. We just kind of came in and started using it.
Very cool. Very cool. Do
Yeah,
you
so-
believe that kind of
so-
saved the market?
Oh, I don't
I just-
know. It's impossible to say. I think in many ways it's probably limited the upside of Ghost, but it will also limit the downside of Ghost. So
Exactly, which is a very good thing right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the discussion about, the type of player that we're going to want to attract here, right? They're players, if we're able to, fix the spotting issue, there are players that'll want to play just because the game's fun and they see the strategy behind it. But I see what Dan's saying with the token price being impacted so greatly and that being associated with bots is not a good look for the game, and that's going to deter the players that might actually really enjoy playing the game first before the financial incentive. But right now,
it's not totally the token price. It's more the fact that if you walk into the game and you see a bunch of players that look like bots, then you're just like, oh, there's just a bunch of bots everywhere.
yeah,
Not it. I still don't tend to focus too much on token prices because they come and they ebb and flow. But it's more about a player who joins the game and sees a bunch of they try to emote with an account and it doesn't emote back, and they do that 10 times and they're like, why aren't these people talking to me? It's just like it's a bit, especially when we start becoming more social and there's more things to do in the game, that it'll become even more of an issue.
yeah. I mean, when the social features come live, we want it to be obvious that there's a lot of people in the Gotchiverse who are humans and they're there to socialize, right? I mean, um, having those people there, we'll all feel like, okay, there's something more to the Gotchiverse than picking up these Alchemica tokens. I think that's the overall vibe. Uh, I believe you said one time during a hangout that you expect people in the Gotchiverse, a typical day would be like maybe you do a little farming, you run around, you pick up a little Alchemica, or you do a guild channeling, and then you go do some social activity. Like that sounds really cool to me, but we're nowhere near that yet. So we just got to figure out how to get there, and maybe this next week we can continue like the discussion around botting, and try and figure out what are some of the solutions people really want. Because I see from that flash poll that you did, I think the two major selections were the cartridges, and then people also saying just turn it off temporarily. So those are two kind of completely different things. So probably got to look at that, and then also take into account the amount of dev time. How much time do we want to put into this to get a solution? Because the quickest solution will also disappoint the most people, but then the other solution, it might be better long term, but it might take a lot longer to implement. I think that's the way I see it right now.
Yeah, and I think they don't have to be mutually exclusive. We could do the kind of a spillover pause, or like maybe it's only it's like during an event every week. We do have hangouts and DAO events. It could be only we turn it on during those times, and the rest of the week it's not on. So that would be one way, and then that will buy us some time to then implement like the invite system if it proves that we need to do that. I still think it'd be very helpful to have the Gotchiverse be a little bit more exclusive than it currently is.
Does anybody know how many verified players that there are in the ecosystem right now through all the guilds and like the vault and everything else?
Can you really ever, truly verify, I guess, if they keep making the accounts?
Not like verify, but I mean, obviously if a, guild got a certain amount of, scholars that are all real players and then they're interacting and everything, they can verify that they have, 500 people in their guild that are real players. I don't know, that are, consistently doing something.
It brings me to another point that I was thinking of is like when we get to these cartridges, these botters are smart. They're going to use social engineering to try to get into some of these guilds. They're already in guilds because, it's free rentals in a lot of the guilds. It makes it easier than them paying. And they probably get more exclusivity and maybe a rank up in the guild when they farm their 200 Alchemica by botting. I definitely agree with Dan that they don't have to be mutually exclusive. We should consider every angle.
I think we should do a vote for disabling the spillover, at least temporarily. Like, I think the vote should be should happen like today. And then if that passes, we disable the spillover, but then we could also potentially look for another solution beyond that. Because that's the easiest thing to implement with just having a vote. We don't have to do anything else.
What happens though when we disable spillover and Alchemica prices keep going down because now only asset holders are the ones that are selling? It's still going to be the same issue, I think.
No, because you're going to reduce supply by 40%.
I tend to agree with No Future that there's still going to be a lot of people selling into Ghost and seeing how Alchemica does.
Look at, of course, but the example. Glitter is the perfect example. Like, only asset holders are collecting glitter, and it's dumping. That means that asset holders are selling their glitter. They're trying to get their yield now because they think that the price is going to continue to go down, like Coder Dan said.
There's also a lot of stakers that are just taking a straight yield from glitter. It's high inflation.
There have been twice in the past when Alchemica hasn't been flowing and prices have gone up, A, and B, it's literally just supply and demand. Like, you're cutting the supply by 40%. That's all you're doing. Demand will stay the same, and then prices will go up.
But how much demand do we really have? Can we say that
it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter if you cut supply. It doesn't matter how much demand there is.
Plus, it just took away the ability to have anything to use. Like Jesse said, 2 sessions ago, that everything was going to be taken away, and this was going to happen because there wasn't going to be anything for Alchemica to be used for as well. So this was already there, right?
This is
you guys
basic
already
economics. If supply changes, if supply goes down, prices will maybe prices won't go up, but they'll decrease slower. It's just
it'll freeze them. It'll freeze them, or they'll go up,
which gives a better chance for it to actually see uptrend when people are more confident. Because right now there's a lack of confidence in the prices. Like, sentiment is also huge in this beyond, the straight economic perspective. I don't personally want to invest in Alchemica while it's about to drop another 10% because half of the players are bought in.
Right, but remember this approach that we're taking here is not going to be, yes, price is definitely a factor, but the approach is primarily not focused on price. It's focused on the impression of the game, which, yes, price has a part to do in that. But if we see bots everywhere at this level at this stage of the game, or we see, the vast majority of players, scholars and non-scholars dumping the Alchemica, then there's a problem with the incentive there, and then there's also a problem with the actual botting issue. So if we can address those two issues, the price should reflect that. You know what I mean? So if we just focus on,
giving up a few things early will definitely help out in the future. And maybe it'll upset people, like you guys have said a couple times, or maybe a few people will be a little disappointed in some things, but it'll definitely, sustain the ecosystem in order to get to where we need to be.
We also need to think
sustainable.
Do we want people to come into, a lot of people come into the project, and we want people who will read about it, but a lot of people straight up check tokens. And, I agree that we don't have to keep a token mooning. That's not healthy. We need to make it, go down at a healthy rate. because we want people to feel like it's investable. We want new outside investors in here, I assume.
Before I
long
knew
run.
anything about any of this, I valued all the tokens at about where it was 1 cent, 2 cent, 4 cent, and 10 cents. And that's where I kind of valued what the yield was maybe out of the game eventually. So when I seen all these yields, you know, obviously when any game comes out, the balloon effect happens. So whoever's in here right now and is mad because some of the coins ballooned and are now coming back down to a norm, they don't even have any idea what they're doing. So like,
Still super early, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's
It's
so
price
early that
discovery.
exactly. So I mean, like, I already kind of valued the value of the coins, and now it's kind of came right back to where I valued it at. So there's really there was no expectation. I was actually very happy, and I knew that the prices were going to go up in the very beginning and come back down. Especially 2 weeks ago, Jesse said, "Hey, there's nothing going to be used to build any of this stuff." You know what I'm saying? For a couple weeks. So I think that incentivized not just bots to sell, but maybe the players as well, realizing that the prices were going to dump and then they could buy back cheaper for the stuff they're going to build. And I believe a lot of people did that. So, I mean, I just don't see why they wouldn't with the information at hand.
I
And
mean,
then
again,
also
we're not focused on the token prices really that much. I mean, some people obviously are, but we're really what we're focusing on is the incentives and trying to have as much of a bot-free game as we can in a play-to-earn space. Right now, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens when we do turn it off. We'll probably go. Typically, what happens when we have like a turn off is we go from like 2,500 down to 200, 300, and those are probably the real players. So it'd be interesting to see how many are actual bots in the game, because it is quite difficult for us to tell just from an automated perspective which ones are bots and which ones are not. So my thought would be a cooldown period while we get out the harvester release would definitely make it easier for us to do our jobs, where we're not having to swat bots all the time. And we could definitely do some weekly events where we turn on the tap during those.
we could definitely help shape some events, if that's going to be the case, to make sure that there has to be a reason for the genuine scholars. I know Brills has brought it up many times. They have a productive guild. I know there's quite a few other productive guilds out there that have players who really love the game. We want to make sure that those players are, even if they get disappointed in the short term, okay, I can't run around and pick up Alchemica, but hey, keep your relationship with the guild. We're going to keep you posted on these events. We're going to make it a whole guild activity thing, and we're going to do like these guild channelings basically, but with scholars. I guess that's kind of the idea there. And that might be just enough to keep the ones that are genuinely interested, that are saying, this player actually farms Alchemica, they're not dumping anything. I feel like that same player would be fine with the Alchemica being turned off right now in favor of, preserving maybe some of the elements of the game, and then also having these occasional drops where, I'll show up on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning and get my channeling helping that week. And it might be maybe a little bit more of a larger helping than if I ran around all week for 24 hours or 8 hours or whatever. I think there definitely has to be, because I look at that turning off spillover as a major stick for pretty much any player that was a scholar, non-asset owner that, was interested in the game. That's a, it's almost like a punishment. So we got to have something else. You got to give some carrot to those people so that they're not walking away from the game with these sorts of negative impressions about how we're managing the game as a DAO. So I think maybe, in my opinion, that might be. I was kind of initially against turning off the spillover for that reason, because we might lose some genuinely interested players, and who knows who those players could be in a couple years, right? We're a long-term game. So Word of mouth is also huge among the scholars from what I've seen. A lot of the scholars end up telling their family, they tell their friends, they get into this game. A lot of them are genuine gamers. So like we do have like a culture forming around the main asset owners of the game. So we want to make sure we preserve at least the genuine parts of that.
Sure. I totally agree. And I think what we'll probably see is a lot of I mean, if they have like the scholars, they need to earn income for life. They'll probably there's other games out there, so they'll probably just schedule like if they know there's going to be a scheduled event at a certain time, they'll probably play other games in the meantime, and then on the scheduled events they'll come and play the Gotchiverse.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we saw for the play drops there during that 1 month when our Discord was like swelling at 1,000 members on a Saturday hangout. That was really cool because they had to stay there and listen to us, and we were able to actually convey, maybe hopefully I was able to convey some points about the game, but maybe we can also work on doing that and conveying some, points, relevant points about the game to them when they're here hanging out in our Discord.
Your vote saying your poll saying should we stop Alchemica spillover? When would that end? Like, what would it end when more gameplay comes out? Would it end when we can implement cartridges? Like, what would your vision be for like?
Yeah,
the
I would say
end
we
game?
would definitely, in my opinion, no matter what, I still think we should implement some sort of invite system just to help. Because like right now, there's no way to have a game that's like so play to earn and so open. Because like we're swatting bots all day. There's an unlimited number of these accounts that can be created on the blockchain. This is like not a Web2 game where you can have some level of like of potential verification and kind of like be a little bit but they might have like KYC for a game like of this level. We don't have any of that, so our door is completely open without any sort of exclusivity or invite system. It's just like an endless game of whack-a-mole.
What's your idea on a grace period? Are we gonna have like a week before we decide this? Is it going to the DAO? I'm wondering when this
I think
would
someone,
begin.
if anyone wants to make a sig prop for it, fairly urgent issue, we could do a normal 7-day sig prop or a 3-day sig prop, and probably can make an announcement about it so everyone knows to go and vote.
For rentals, I do suggest that there be a message on the rental page.
Yeah, for sure.
About
We'll
spillover.
definitely make sure that. Yeah, totally.
I think it would solve a lot of issues with scholars renting stuff and wasting money and support.
Now, yeah, I mean, this has been a really productive conversation. I'm glad we could focus on this. Like Coder Dan said, this is a pressing issue, so I'm glad we focused for the most part on this. We still have a whole conversation about harvesters, which I don't think people maybe want to get into this time around. I don't know what Coder Dan, do you think we should table the harvesters discussion? We basically need to go through the 3 options that Mikey J, Notorious BTC had proposed, and just flesh those out and then get a sig prop done for those. But I feel like we should probably address this first and then maybe move on to harvesters. I don't know. Let's see what the consensus is in the DAO meetings. Can we just table this for next week?
I do have to get off here. It's almost past
Can we be
midnight
doing
for
this
me.
twice a week? Like, I feel like once a week isn't enough. Like, we haven't talked about eyes in who knows how long, and it's like that's been an issue for a long time.
I mean, we could do I can't allocate another night of my week because we do have a lot of time zone issues with our team, so I have to essentially have like internal meetings with a lot of the team members at the 2 p.m. UTC time. So if you guys wanted to have like weekly hangout time also be DAO hangout time, that would also be an option.
get Mark in here to do a different time zone.
Also, remember tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, Hefe is going to be hosting the Gotchi space. So we can continue this conversation because some of the ideas we brought forth today, at least for me, were generated last week when we had that conversation. So it's a good breeding ground to kind of like, kick around ideas and brainstorm as a DAO.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
You're
do.
welcome to that.
I'm a bit curious about Tamagotchi. Tamagotchi was mentioning like a percentage reduction in spillover. It could be something interesting to think about. Because if it's reduced and you say you have 20% spilling out or something, then that 20% might, with price appreciation, might become worth that old 100%. But yeah, I think a lot of people are in favor of cutting it completely. I'm just wondering if there's some hybrid idea that might be best.
Well, there's actually some other things that we could do about this. Yesterday something came up, and it finally got someone to do what I've been asking people to do for a long time, which is we, the DAO, should be the final stage of the UI. Instead of it being 5 of us that know how to do this, leveraging that and either selling it to each other or just in just using it for themselves and getting an advantage, we should be building out the final step there ourselves and making the tools that we want instead of stopping the PC from doing what they're doing continuously by making demands. We can just make demands of a coder that we hire. It's pretty simple. And the first thing we need to do is make a full-blown rental operator application that a scholar, a trusted scholar, could be put in charge of your rentals. Then you don't need a rental bot. You've got the scholar to do it. That scholar can make real money, invest in the game, become an owner, and will care about this game like it's their life, because it's the best thing that ever happened to them, and it's a career.
That's me,
as
basically.
opposed to, and they will deal with all the botters. They will filter it out because all of a sudden they're making real money, have a real job. And these guys, if they let the wrong guy in, gravy train stops. And yeah, so if you are that person that could write these tools, think about that, because there is going to be a prop put up very soon, and it's going to be hiring someone to do this.
Cool.
We already think we know who it is, but basically Al has volunteered. I'm trying to get it to be Al and Jared and iTree working together to make us the most awesome tool ever. But
I was having a similar idea, like to have it like one dashboard that instead of having to go to all the small dashboards that we have everywhere, including like Fireball GG and Adventure.io, Aavegotchi Stats. If we had like one dashboard that was open source that anyone could make PRs towards, I think that would be pretty cool. And that's pretty much what Fireball GG is. So I would definitely also reach out and see like what Yannick and his team think of that, because they do have that kind of like more open source template.
Yeah, I mean, having some kind of tool for the lending operator functions would be amazing, because there's like, right now you can't use it with Gotchi lending or anything else. So that would be huge, because it allows people to come in and then build from nothing up pretty quickly if you hustle. And like the way I'm doing it, like I already have players in mind. My son's going to be one of my players. Liz Lele is probably going to work with me. So these are players I know that are real, that are going to be able to go in the game and actually do stuff. And it's not just a bot,
Well, that and there's the part where, okay, so we're trying to get them to act how they want, or how we want them to, or we're trying to find the right kind of player or attract the right kind of player. Well, if we make a tool that is for that person to do the thing we want them to do, that makes our life easier and makes them more money, that's just what they'll do. Right now, we've given them a tool that says walk around and pick stuff up. Oh, and then here's where you cash out. But don't do that. What if we give them a different tool, and the tool is, okay, your job is actually you manage all this stuff and you vet people. And here's the tool to do it. It's not necessarily a tool for us. It can be used by us, but it's also a way to socially engineer the scholars into becoming like career Gotchi managers, Gotchi specialists, human
Guys, I have
resources.
to get out here, but that's a very cool idea. And yeah, so is anyone planning to make a SIG prop about the turning off spillover? I think that could definitely be something we could put to the community in this week and see what everyone is actually thinking with their ghosts, with their assets on Snapshot.
I think you have like 4 different people wanting to say yes, but they're not agreeing about what what it would say.
Yeah, maybe we take like the rest of this day to discuss options for that poll. Put it in DAO discussion or something. And then we
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys
throw
are down
something
to,
out.
yeah, let's meet up on the Hangout tonight. Twitter Spaces. We can continue talking about it. If you are thinking of making a proposal, definitely come hang out with us. Love to hear kind of what you're thinking about putting on there, and then maybe we can consolidate some ideas and actually get like a proposal out there. I think that'd be the next step for sure.
Or at least post in DAO discussion before throwing up a proposal.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with
All right,
that.
guys. Have a good Sunday.
See you then. Thank
Later,
you.
Ken. I just have one more
Yeah.
announcement for Mikey J. They said that they will be putting out the SIG prop for the harvesters, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Have a look at all 3. I think you say recipe B is going to be on there. Are the other 2 recipes going to be on there as well? But just have a look at that document that they have. It's quite long, but if you look at the TLDR, it'll give you everything you need to know. Otherwise, the Miro board has everything from our meeting today. And I know Hardcore, shout out to him. He's been managing all this and getting these together for these meetings on Sunday. So this was really productive today. I personally don't have any final thoughts besides come to the Gotchi space if you want to keep the conversation going tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll turn it over to you guys. Do you guys have anything you want to announce for either today or this week?
Nah, nothing. NFT NYC, we're gonna be at the rooftop. Hit up Gravy if you're gonna be in New York for that for the event, so they can get on the guest list.
Yeah, great. That's gonna be fun. Zombie Shepherd's gonna have a recording up. I think. Yeah. I've live streamed it to my channel, so you can get the recording there if you need. And yeah, I hope thank you all for coming out and hanging out with us on Sunday. This is a big deal that we had almost 200 people at a DAO discussion. I don't know how many other places on the planet that's happening right now in this market. So shout out to everybody who came out today and hang out with us. It definitely shows that everybody cares about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this. And yeah, I got nothing else. I hope you guys have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
Ciao.
Peace. Bye.